Hi, my name's Vince, and in this week's video we're going to be looking at critique, analysing our own work and making an honest assessment as to whether it's good enough or do we do something else. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video. I'll be critiquing 4 songs. One of them will be extremely contentious and is bound to generate a lot of what should we say, negative comments my way, I think is fair to say, but we'll see. Human beings are invariably excellent at criticising other people. What we're not very good at is looking inwards and criticising ourselves, you know. So if you're going to be your own critique, you've got to be really honest. If something's not up to scratch, say it how it is, because you're only going to be wasting your own time if you don't. Also, make sure you've got a rested set of ears and you're not, sound fatigued, because it's quite common, especially when you're in your early years of development. You kind of sit at the computer, or back in my day it was a 4-track or an 8-track, and you'd spend hours getting this idea together. You've got your verse, and then you kind of sitting there working on a chorus. You decide that yes, this chorus really works. I'll put it together, I'll fuse it together with the verse or the pre-chorus or whatever, and you go to bed and you get up the next day, you listen back to it, and it sounds like a completely different song. And there's nothing worse than getting out of bed and being disappointed in the work that you did the previous day, because it's a waste of a day, especially if you've got a day job and maybe that was your day off. So yeah, be honest, because it's going to save you a lot of time. So what I tend to do is I critique each part of the song that I build and decide whether it's good enough that I can move on to the next part of the song, or whether I just scrap it and do something else. I've gotten far better at it these days, and it's very rare that I put something down that I'm not happy with. If I'm not happy with it, it's probably because it needs embellishing, it needs something else in there, but I've got it to where I vaguely need it, and then I can manipulate it to where I actually want it to be. But I think as you're starting out, especially in the early years, the first sort of 5-6 years of playing music or writing music, I don't think those things come naturally. If they do, kudos to you. I'm sure there are songwriters out there that do have those abilities. Yeah, so really be honest with yourself, and probably, I mean, you can ask the opinion of other people, but generally if they're your friends, they'll either say yeah, it's alright, or or if it's a girlfriend, she'll say, oh, you've done well there, you've done well, and it's almost like asking to be patronised, so don't bother asking. The other thing you're going to need is a thick skin, because people in probably any creative industry is very competitive, so you are going to get put down. People will leave nasty comments on your YouTube page. Maybe I'll probably get some after this, but I rather enjoy them, well, to an extent, but you do need a thick skin. Be prepared to encounter some narcissistic personalities. They're the kind of people that will put you down. They'll use your song to do it, but their goal is to put you down. They don't really care about the song, they just care that they can get one over on you. There's not too many narcissistic personalities out there, but you'll know them when you encounter them, so yeah, you just got to ignore those ones. I tend to find they're the kind of nutcases you get on the beginning of the talent shows, you know, the ones that come in and think they're wonderful and they're actually so deluded, you know, and they get marched out by security, those kind of people. And I know one currently, so they are very real. They are very real. Don't be fooled into thinking it's all an act and it's just pretend and it's just to get audience figures up. I'm sure that does go on, but in a lot of cases it's very real, and it's a horrible trait to see, let alone to have. So yeah, just be prepared to have a thick skin with some people. The other thing you're going to encounter is, along with criticism, it's kind of comparison. So instead of criticising and offering an objective critique, they'll turn and use comparisons. So let's just say I write a piece and it sounds quite filmscapey, which is what I'm doing at the moment. You will get people that will say something like, "Oh, it sounds a bit like Pink Floyd," or it sounds like Air, or sounds like 07, or sounds like whoever, you know. I mean, it's not a bad thing to sound like those people, but I think, in honesty, the people that say that, they're saying it because they don't really know how to critique it, so they look for the easiest common denominator they can find and use that. So again, it's not criticism, and it's also not critique. So as promised, we're going to look at 4 songs, and I'm going to critique each one, and hopefully some of you will reply in the comments below as to where you think I might be right and where you think I might be wrong. Maybe I can think of another video to do on it, depending on what comments you leave. So yeah, I can feel the fingers typing furiously, steam emitting off the keyboard as I'm saying this. So, okay, without further ado, our first song. And I had to listen to this last night and critique it. Now, I would rather pour lemon juice in my eyes and tread on a plug than listen to this song. So I think I've worked hard for this. Alright, the first song is Barbie Girl by Aqua. Oh God, I can't even believe I'm talking about this. Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful. You know, guilty pleasure might be Papa Don't Preach by Madonna, or I don't know, some sort of similar song. Even Agadoo, who knows, Black Lace, but yeah, Barbie Girl by Aqua is just horrendous. However, saying that, it does have a place. If you're having a party, maybe it's a kid's party, that song's perfect. It's going to be a perfect party song, especially for the younger kids, you know. So it does have a place. As much as it makes me want to vomit, it has a place there. So, and then I thought of another song that I actually quite like, but I hated it when it came out in 1979, and that was Video Killed the Radio Star by Buggles, the Buggles. And back in 1979, I was only 8 years old, but I was aware of music. I was musically quite aware because of my father being a musician, so there was always music around the house. I mean, I was 8 years old listening to Hotel California and stuff like that, Ricky Lee Jones, Tony Joe White, Little Feat, stuff like that, Stevie Wonder, blah blah blah, Ray Charles, B.B. King, Charlie Rich, yeah, it's an endless list. Anyway, so Video Killed the Radio Star, I should say, is actually now, I think, a great song. I hated it at the time, but now I look back on it and I listen to it, I think it's a brilliant piece of work, because it's socially talking about stuff that matters as well. If you read the lyrics, they're quite indicative of the time it was in 1979, and video was slowly killing the radio star. Slowly. It probably wasn't until MTV came along in what, 80, I don't know when it was, 84, 85, something like that, and then it really did change. But it was going on before that as well, and the song's lyrics really do kind of bring a message home. And I enjoyed the song now, and I could say that a lot for the 80s stuff, and I think that way of most of the stuff that came out of the 80s. But during the 80s, I was sat at school and all you had was, I don't know, Wham on the cover of this magazine, or Spandau Ballet, or whatever. Duran Duran were a big one, weren't they? Thompson Twins, Tears for Fears, you know. And I listened to a lot of that music then. Just really annoyed me. When you're young, in your sort of late teens, you are full of angst, or at least I was, and I'm not now. And so the idea of somebody sitting there listening to Duran Duran just wanted to make me jump out the window, to be honest. But I listen back to it now and I just think some great stuff came out of the 80s. I'll tell you a song from the 80s I really enjoy. It's West End Girls, Pet Shop Boys. Great lyrics, great tune, and there's lots of songs from the 80s that are like that now. So yeah, I think it was a synthesizer that came along, and it was new and it was revolutionary, and it was a big jump from, you know, the 70s guitar heroes like Jimmy Page and Van Halen and whoever, Hendrix before, and to make that jump to synthesizers and what was kind of like synth pop or synth rock, it was too big of a change for me at the time. I wasn't liberal-minded enough to deal with it, but thankfully I am now. Listening to people like Peter Gabriel have changed my mind, and Kate Bush, they've changed my mind, they've shaped me into liking other things, which is a great thing. So yeah, the next song I'm going to highlight is really going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, and that is Don McLean's American Pie. Now, I'm going to upset a lot of people I know. I think Warren Hewitt just released a video on songs that changed music, and that was one of them. But I've got to be honest with you, I just can't listen to it. I can't. No, I can't. I don't like it in any way, shape or form. However, there are so many people that do like that song. Hallelujah, that's another one I put in the same bracket. I can't listen to either of those songs, but they're massively popular songs and many people's favourites. So I could critique it if I wanted to, but the answer would be, the final answer would be the same thing. It would be, I don't want it anywhere near me. If it's on the radio, I'm gonna either unplug it or throw something at the radio. So yeah, bring it on. Britney Spears, Hit Me Baby One More Time. Overly processed. I think it's terribly mixed, but that was how most things were mixed in the 90s and 2000s. Probably still are today, if I'm honest. Where everything's kind of at the ceiling. There's no space, there's no breathing space in a mix anymore. Everything's full on. I just hate it. I can't. I'd give me the 70s or 60s back any day of the week. I'll keep today's technology, thanks, but I just want the process to change. You know, people just compressing the hell out of everything. But yeah, Hit Me Baby One More Time. Again, it's got its place. I don't like the song, but I actually do think it's a well-written song. It's well constructed. It's lyrically, no, I don't know. It's not, well, you're not going to be worrying Bob Dylan anytime soon, but you know, it has its place, and listening to it, I actually found it to be quite, yeah, I can listen to this quite happily. I wouldn't choose to put it on, but if it's on in the background, I'm certainly not throwing anything at the radio. Maybe Malcolm McLaren, I'd like to throw him at the radio, but anyway, no, back in the room. So yeah, leave your comments, you know, it's going to be interesting. I think that wraps up this video for today, for this week. By the way, I'm going to put a video out every, well, Friday night in the UK time, so it should definitely be out Saturday everywhere. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Maybe throw some comments in as to what kind of parts of songwriting you would like to know about, that we can discuss. And yeah, until next time, take care of yourselves.